Hey gardening friends, ready to grow healthier plants, bigger harvests, and smarter gardens? Let's get started.
Have you ever walked out to your garden, looked at your tomato plants, and felt completely confident, only to watch your harvest disappoint you in ways you never saw coming? What if your plants were already sending you warning signals weeks ago, and you just did not know how to read them? Welcome back to The Smart Gardener. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a practical gardening tip every single week. Now, here is what is happening right now in gardens all across the country. Your tomatoes are starting to turn red, and that moment, right there, is one of the most critical windows in the entire growing season. Most gardeners think the hard work is done once the fruit starts coloring up. But the truth is, what you do with fertilizer during these final weeks can mean the difference between a harvest that fills your kitchen counter and one that barely fills a single bowl. In this video, you are going to learn 4 warning signs that tell you your tomato plants are running low on nutrients. Signs that most home gardeners overlook until it is too late. You will also learn exactly when and where to apply fertilizer during the summer heat. A common hidden reason your plants may be starving, even when you think you have been feeding them well. And a bonus section on natural organic feeding methods that are simple, affordable, and incredibly effective. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will look at your tomato plants in a completely different way. Before we talk about what goes wrong, let's talk about what right looks like. A healthy tomato plant in full summer growth should stand tall, roughly at eye level or even higher. The stem should feel firm and thick from the bottom all the way up to the top. The leaves should be a deep, rich green with no curling, no yellowing, and no unusual discoloration. When you see a plant like that, you know the roots are doing their job, and the nutrients are moving through the plant the way they should. Now here is something most gardening videos never tell you. Even if you are fertilizing regularly, your plants may still be starving. And the reason comes down to one thing that almost every home gardener overlooks: soil pH. For tomato plants to absorb nutrients properly, your soil needs to sit between a pH of 6.0 and 6.8. Outside of that range, it does not matter how much fertilizer you put in the ground. The roots simply cannot take it in. You can pick up an inexpensive pH testing kit at any garden center and check your soil in just a few minutes. That one small step could completely change your results this season. So now that you know what a healthy plant looks like and why soil pH matters, let's get into the 4 warning signs your tomatoes send out when they are not getting what they need. The first sign is yellowing leaves, and this one points directly to a nitrogen deficiency. Here is the key detail to watch for. The yellowing starts on the older leaves near the bottom of the plant first, while the newer leaves up top stay green. Nitrogen is a mobile nutrient, meaning the plant pulls it from the older growth to keep the younger growth alive. So if you see those lower leaves turning pale green or yellow, your plant is essentially robbing itself to survive. The second sign is leaves at the very top of the plant that point straight up and look stiff and narrow, almost like they are reaching for the sky with their arms raised. This typically happens in the top 6 inches of the plant. You may also notice the stem getting noticeably thinner as it goes upward. This is a classic signal that nitrogen and potassium levels are both running low. The third sign is fruit that stays small or ripens unevenly. If your tomatoes are developing yellow patches or odd star-shaped marks near the bottom of the fruit, that is a potassium and phosphorus issue. These 2 nutrients work together to move sugars through the plant and support healthy, even fruit development. Without them, your tomatoes just never reach their full potential. The fourth sign is one that trips up a lot of American home gardeners every single summer, and that is blossom end rot. You will recognize it as a dark, sunken spot on the bottom of the fruit. Most people assume it means the soil lacks calcium, and sometimes that is true. But more often, the real cause is inconsistent watering. When the soil swings between too dry and too wet, the roots cannot absorb calcium fast enough to keep up with the growing fruit. And that is when the damage shows up. Here is the bottom line. If you spot even one of these 4 signs on your plants right now, do not wait. The longer you let it go, the harder it becomes to recover the harvest you were hoping for. Now that you know the warning signs and the hidden causes, let's talk about what to actually do about it. And I want to start with something most gardening guides skip over entirely. Where you apply fertilizer matters just as much as what you apply. By midsummer, your tomato plant's roots have spread out just as wide as the branches above. Here is a simple trick. Look at the outer edge of your plant's canopy and apply fertilizer in a ring along that outer edge, staying about 6 inches away from the main stem. That is where the most active roots are feeding. That one small adjustment can make a noticeable difference in how quickly your plant responds. Now for timing. In the early weeks, nitrogen is the priority to build strong stems and leaves. Once flowers appear, shift toward phosphorus to support fruit set and back off the nitrogen. When fruit is actively growing and coloring up, potassium takes over. It moves sugars through the plant and directly affects flavor and size. During this fruiting stage, feed every 10 to 14 days. For beginners, every 2 weeks with a moderate amount works well. Always fertilize in the early morning or late afternoon, never in the midday heat. Now here is the bonus I promised. You do not need expensive products to feed your tomatoes well. Fish emulsion is fast-acting and rich in nitrogen. Water it into the soil, or use it as a foliar spray every 2 weeks during the growth phase. Seaweed or kelp extract works beautifully during flowering and fruiting, and it helps your plants handle summer heat stress much better. If blossom end rot has been a problem, start crushing eggshells and scattering them around the base of each plant. They release calcium slowly as they break down, which is exactly what prevents that dark sunken spot. Used coffee grounds add a gentle dose of nitrogen and improve soil texture over time. And do not overlook mulch. A 2 to 3 inch layer of straw or dried leaves around the base keeps the soil cool, locks in moisture, and gives your roots the stable environment they need to keep pushing through the hottest weeks of summer. Before we finish, I need to warn you about something just as damaging as underfeeding, and that is giving your plants too much fertilizer. It happens more often than you think, especially when gardeners see struggling plants and decide that more must be better. Watch for these 5 signs. Lower leaves turning yellow and wilting quickly. Leaf edges and tips browning as if lightly burned. Foliage turning an unusually deep dark green, while the plant produces no flowers. Leaves curling inward on themselves, and a white crusty layer forming on the soil surface around the base of the plant. That white crust is fertilizer salt buildup, and it means the soil is overloaded. If you see any of these, do not sprinkle a little water. Give your plant a deep soaking with double your normal water amount to push those excess salts down and away from the root zone. Repeat every few days until the plant recovers. Avoid frequent light watering during this time, as it can cause root rot. Growing tomatoes is not complicated, but it does ask you to pay attention. Your plants are always talking to you through their leaves, their stems, and their fruit. Once you learn to read those signals, everything changes. Drop a comment below and tell me what stage your plants are at right now, and whether you have spotted any of these signs this season. If this video helped you, please hit like and subscribe to The Smart Gardener. There is more practical knowledge coming your way, and I will see you in the next one. Now that you have both solutions ready, here is the key to making them work together in a way that gives your garden the best possible results. Do not apply both on the same day. These 2 liquids serve different purposes, and your soil needs time to respond to each one properly. At the beginning of the week, apply your coffee ground solution. This is your soil builder, the one that feeds your underground microbial community, improves soil structure, and creates the ideal environment for roots to grow strong and absorb nutrients efficiently. Then at the end of the week, apply your banana peel solution. This is your plant energizer, delivering potassium directly to the root zone to support flowering, fruit development, and overall plant strength. Alternate between the 2 on this simple weekly rhythm, and always water at the base of the plant, never on the leaves. Keep your solutions at a gentle concentration and trust the process. Within 2 to 4 weeks, you will start to notice real changes. Leaves will deepen in color, stems will feel noticeably firmer, blooms will come in fuller, and your fruits will develop more evenly and consistently. The secret was never about spending more money at the garden center. It was always about understanding what your soil needs and giving it exactly that, naturally and consistently. If you have already tried banana peels or coffee grounds in your garden, I would love to hear about your experience. Drop a comment below and tell me what you noticed. And if this video gave you something useful today, please give it a like, share it with a fellow gardener who could use it, and subscribe to The Smart Gardener so you never miss what is coming next. Nature has already provided everything your garden needs. Your only job is learning how to listen.